This show is a member of the Sorgatron Media Podcast Network. Find out more at sorgatronmedia.com. This show is brought to you by Slice on Broadway, supporting Pittsburgh podcasting with the perfect pepperoni pizza. Production services by Sidekick Media Services. And listeners like you, supporting us at patreon.com/awesomecast. It's time to get geeky, get awesome. It is the AwesomeCast. I'm Mike Sorg at Sorgatron on the Twitter. I almost said where I usually am, and that's not where I'm at right now. I am in a hotel room in Ann Arbor, Michigan, because I am here for Autodrive Challenge II, year 2, and of course this is the yearly week where also happy anniversary, by the way. This is usually our anniversary week for all the anniversaries are when I'm on the road, apparently. So but I am here. If you are on Patreon, I got a little video I made about what we're doing for the setup that I'm hoping to post here for you guys. But I got from, where do I start? From Studio C in the Big D of Dormont, Pennsylvania, is John Chichilla joining us. There, now we have audio.
I'm on mute.
There you go. Hello.
How's it going?
I need to put the switcher where I can reach it.
That's probably a good idea.
Yes. How you doing, sir? It's been a couple weeks.
It has been a couple weeks. You're coming in from remote.
Yes, I am, but not as remote as the next. Because coming from Studio Car is the Dutters.
Yep, driving it right into the sun. Drinking some sheets.
She's well lit.
I'm definitely not driving.
It looks like, so you guys like the background fitter going on there, and it's bouncing around. It just looks like it's a car. Oh, look, we even blurred the branding there. So I have a great Hampton Inn free coffee with a mustache for comparison. I needed something, and there's no market here. I was like, oh, I'll go grab some Monsters. There's no market, but they do still have the coffee on. It's still warm. So, where are you at? Like, where are you? Undisclosed highway or what?
Yeah, I swapped out a Sorg. I have the Missy Sorg is driving me around, and I spent a very nice anniversary evening with Missy Sorg, and and back.
There you go. On the way back. This is going to be fantastic. We're going to see how the internet is on where the heck you are. I couldn't even load Find My to figure out where you guys were leading in if we were going to make it back in time. So, and also,
you can't tell.
And also with us from Studio Pod is Dave Potter.
Hey, Sorg. Yeah, I figure since you're repping the brand, I might as well rep the brand too there.
There you go. Nice. Hold on. Hold on. I do have it within reach. I have the full, because this is an Autodrive 1. I'm technically not supposed to be wearing this, but I couldn't find all my 2 merch. But I do have. Boom. You like that?
Ooh.
You like that? The sweet Autodrive 2.
There we go.
Hat. It's actually one of the nicest swag hats. I think it's an Adidas.
It's a brand.
Yeah. Like,
nice.
Usually we have. I should actually put the microphone up in my mouth. It's not easy because I'm a little bit echoed to myself because the way this is set up, and I have a little bit less routing than at home. Anyways, that's a me problem, and I'm going to try not to let it affect what we're doing here. So this is the AwesomeCast. Please check out everything at AwesomeCast.com. You can hit us up at the email AwesomeCast@SorgatronMedia.com. Tweet us at AwesomeCast, and also we are on the Mastodon server at AwesomeCast at SorgatronMedia.social. We do have a AwesomeCast Facebook group, a lot of stories throughout the week. We have a Discord and a Reddit as well. You can check the links to the Discord over at awesomecast.com. And also, you subscribe to us, of course, on all the places, and we are live every Tuesday, even when I'm on the road. I guess we did have a week off last week, I guess, because I couldn't figure out how to do it. But listen, I actually took a vacation last week and went to Vegas, and we'll talk about a little bit of that. And, of course, thank you to our audio partners over at postindustrial.com sharing the awesomeness. Thank you to our Patreon supporters at patreon.com/awesomecast. Our friends, the executive producer level, Brian Crawford of pghmuseums.org. At the Coffee Club level, Matt Weller, Cynthia Klosky, and the returning in the last few weeks, John Diggy Digor. I don't know if he still wants me to call him Diggy. I don't know where I got the Diggy from. I think it was his Twitter name or something like that. And at the fan show level, Michael Fedor and Dave Podner, spouse of Ruth's Jewelry Affair at ruthsjewelryaffair.com. I just need to slow down for it, right, Dave?
Yeah, that's it. It's not that bad. I just, I wanted to give the company name and the website.
That is true. The problem is I speed through these because I want to go like through the stuff to get the names out there, get it out of the way.
You need the mask if you're going to do the whole Excalibur. You need the mask, really. There's a special power in that mask.
Yes, that's a Wrestling Mayhem show reference, though. So.
Yes.
So let's get into it. I think a couple of things may have happened, but in the meantime, let's have some fun with some awesome things of the week. First of all, Katie, what's your awesome thing?
Well, my secondary awesome thing will have to be after your awesome thing. Because
I'm sorry.
It goes with your awesome thing.
That's okay. We can lead into my awesome thing with your awesome thing.
Okay, well, we'll do that one first because I'm about to hit a spot that you may lose me for a hot moment, but we will do my best. My awesome thing of the week is we were out in Baja, which is a very, very dusty thing and dusty place, and my camera got dusty along with your equipment also got very dusty. And I've seen folks use the, it's kind of a gel, not a gel, but like, I don't know what you want to call it. It's a gel. They call it a gel. It's like a slime. To clean their car, like in the little crevices. And I was like, wait, if we can use this for our cameras. And definitely bought some from Amazon, had it when I got home, and cleaned every nook and cranny of my camera magnificently.
It doesn't leave like a residue. And now we have one for our car as well, and it doesn't leave a residue on there, but I've never used it on glass. Or any kind of, like, we don't use it on the screen display in the car. Like, it's all in the nooks and crannies of, like, down where you would put your coffee cup and all that kind of stuff. So it works, like, it doesn't leave any kind of, like, I don't know, like, haze over anything.
Well, I tried on lenses. I did not try that. But, like, around the lenses... when my lenses were extended, there was on the other side of the end of the lens, around any of the buttons and any of that stuff. It totally picked it up from there with no problems. I've ended up using pictures because they were also dusty.
Can you repeat that again? I think we dropped you a second.
So, something was dusty.
My phone was dusty. And I used it on my phone speakers.
Ooh, I wonder if you could get it in the port.
Oh, I bet you can. Ooh, my port crack. I did not try my port crack because my phone case is the OtterBox, and it's a little deeper than I would be able to get it into the crack. But I will try that. I'll take my phone, the case off at home and try it. But I wanted... because I offered it up to Sorg as a suggestion, but I wanted to try it first. And it was so addicting that this was after flying all day from Portland that I had to clean all of my equipment because I was having way too much fun picking up all of the dust out of everything.
Oh, it is sitting in an Amazon locker not far from here. And I didn't have time to get to it before I had to set up for the show. I'm really sad, or I'd really be playing with the goo right now. I'd probably not get the show done. So tomorrow, I'm going to pick that up, or maybe after the show. I'll pick it up by tomorrow, and I'll review on my side. Because I took, like, the lens wipes and tried to get as much dust as possible off my camera. But my camera just, like, looks persistently dusty, and I'm hoping this helps out a little bit with that. So...
I was actually shocked because, like, on the ring, because when I make the adjustments, it's kind of the little lines around it so you can have a grip on it. And there's been times that I've gotten sunscreen down into there and I haven't been able to wipe that out. And it pulled that out of it too. So it's no longer splotchy with sunscreen around the lens either.
I got to point out, this is the most well lit you've been on the show.
Oh, thank you. Except for that,
you should drive around more often.
Yeah, you should be.
Except for that moment ago where I was in the red.
Exactly. I mean, better. I mean, I've tried. I mean, this is as well as I can do with hotel lighting. At least I got a nice overhead over here. So, wow, that's awesome. It's only $5.94. It is cleaning gel for car. It is. There was a brand by Pulidiki.
Yeah, I am not sure, but yeah, but I've got it on Amazon. It's on sale now, and highly recommend it. And it's definitely works really well. And just look at the gel, and you can see all the dust and crap that I pulled off my camera.
Awesome. Do you have a before and after? Do you have a before and after picture? Oh, when she's gone. She's gone. We'll see if she comes back so we can get back to this other gag.
Real quick, Sorg, before you move on. Looking on the screen. Oh,
sorry about
that. Go ahead, Dave.
Okay. Nope, no problem.
Go.
Okay, sorry. No, on the page it says, "Do not use this on the cell phone screen or computer monitor."
Oops. Also consider Katie and I have these glass protectors on our screens.
Right. That's different.
But I wouldn't put it on the bare one. So
no.
But I think it's more for getting around that case. Like we have these big otter boxes that we use for the season. I'll probably take this off and put it on my lighter one so I can actually use MagSafe after next week, at least until September. So and actually this a little bit in the nooks and crannies on the side, but it really didn't turn out too bad. So, and this has been sitting on top of my camera. But anyways, so Katie, are you still with us? I think
it's like a seance now. Are you with us?
Are you with us? Katie,
are you with us?
Before you go away,
yes.
Tell us your next thing.
Yeah. Oh, well, leading into Sorg's awesome thing, I got a gift when Sorg was traveling from Missy Sorg. I don't know if we've ever talked about this in the show, but one of the things that Missy and I do whenever we travel is we bring each other pens home from wherever we're traveling at. And usually some sort of ridiculousness. And I had bought Missy an Oregon pen that was a crab leg because, one, it was amusing because it clipped open, and also because she has a shellfish allergy, and I'm a terrible friend. But so I go to pick her up yesterday, and she's like, I got a present for you. And I open the bag, and it's from the Omega Mart, and it's the exact same pen, just in an Omega Mart version. So yeah, I have an Omega Mart crab claw pen, and she's got an Oregon one, and we were having way too much fun clicking them. Like,
so the funny thing is, you're like, look what I got her, and I'm like, I looked at it, and I almost said, didn't you show this to me already? Turns out it wasn't you. Also, how scrambled is my brain after a week of Vegas and Baja. So yeah, no, that's amazing. So that leads into the Omega Mart, which have we talked about the Omega Mart on the show or Meow Wolf or anything like that? Hold on, let me put my other hat on. Here we go. There you go. There, now I got my Meow Wolf hat on, which makes me really popular apparently with the waitresses. No, that wasn't a waitress the other night, but I've had more people ask about this hat in 1 week than like almost any other hat I've had. So Meow Wolf has several permanent installations, 4 that we're aware of across the country. And this is one, if you've seen, I think a lot of people have seen the TikTok of people like walking into the fridge that opens up and you walk in. It's like a grocery store fridge or freezer. You walk in and you end up in like, another dimension. It was really cool. You walk in the front door and it is like a grocery store and you're like, what am I getting into? I did not look at a lot of the stuff around it going into it. It just multiple people were like, you're in Vegas, you need to go check this out. When I asked what to do in Vegas. So we had a couple extra days for other things I won't get into here. And that's more for the other show last week on Wrestling Mayhem Show. So it starts out as like the weirdest grocery store ever. If you look online, there's several commercials going on for just oddball products. I don't know how to describe that. I wish Missy was on and not driving so she could kind of give me her take on these kinds of things. But like fruits that would had faces, strange. There was a box of cereal that says completely not spiders. Things like that. There was like a cleaning agent that says and it's done. So like really interesting, fun stuff, really kind of quirky, really kind of tongue in trick cheek kind of thing, and it's a really cool kind of deal there. And here's, I'll throw up a little commercial here. Simply does not contain spiders. It looks like Raisin Bran and stuff like this. And this is the place you see in the video. This is the space that they use for this. There's a meat market. They made a meat sculpture of somebody. There's an infinity melon. It's like partially art, partially I think there was a Mother Mary and a ham. And then on top of it, there's like sort of these NPCs. The workers will go around and they're talking to each other, and sometimes that gives you some clues, and you end up in this interdimensional thing. So, like when Katie, you and I talked about when we went to Super Nintendo Land and we got the armbands that like kind of unlocked a game. They had the same thing here. The tickets start about $50, depends on what day and what level you're at per person. And there's a locker that opens up into another dimension too, and everything. But there's also like you buy a $3 card, and it's actually across the room, and you boop things. So I was in for it. So you boop things and on these terminals, and it starts unlocking. First, you're just unlocking like you're doing employee training, including interdimensional, chemical spills and things like that, right? And going from that to you're going to the office. There's a factory section that you get to walk through, and you're like working on a reactor. And wait, Katie, did you just boop right into the studio? What is happening? You're muted. This is weird. This is weird and meta right now. And it was like
what's up? I'm live from the studio.
Yes. So we go through all those kinds of things, and we boot things, and you end up unraveling this mystery. I don't want to get too much into it and I'm still not entirely sure what happened to the father that started the company. But it gets weird and mystical, interdimensional, but there's just a lot of stuff to play with, even if you don't even do the game where you're doing basically a scavenger hunt for this kind of thing. Very cool. And they have 3 other locations. They're not Omega Marts. They're other kind of interdimensional artistic kind of installations. There's one down near Dallas. There's one in Denver, and Santa Fe, New Mexico, I think is the other one. But on top of that, the really cool thing with this, and I'll see if I can pull that up real quick. It was in this space called Area 15, which was a real surprise. I didn't know that there was like, I thought it was its own thing, right? But this Area 15 turns out to be like this interesting industrial, again, kind of space where there's bars and restaurants, and there's a giant robot that was an homage to like what's the giant robot Vin Diesel played, and other big robots and Gundams and things like that. And there's this infinity tunnel that was just out in the parking lot. There was a bar with a lift that went 100 feet up. This is the entrance to the place. A couple of shots of the Omega Mart if you guys are with us on video. And this is one of the computers Missy's playing in, one of these touchscreen computers. I was really impressed with the interfaces that you get to use when you're quote unquote hacking these computers. Like this one looks like an old iMac, but it was really responsive. It was so much so that Missy's trying to figure out, like we went back and forth between these terminals trying to figure out the next thing. And she even tried to like drag and drop a file, and that wasn't a function on these. I don't know what they were running, but it was very, very cool. This place was like pumping industrial music. There were these overhead carts going through the facility on the ceiling that you can do called Haley's Comet. There's an arcade. It was a really really cool. Like I want to go back there. I want to go back there so bad and just hang out. We ended up hanging out there. We did Omega Mart for about 3 hours, and then we hung out for the rest of the night until our late night tickets at Neon Museum. And we were going to go to somewhere else, and we're just like, this is great. It's inside. Let's just hang out here, grab dinner, and do whatever, right? So definitely recommend it, Katie. If you get back out to Vegas, you got to see this thing.
Yeah, I just ran out of time last time I was there.
Yeah, that's the
But
thing.
yeah,
So
because that's like you said, that's a long, you want to spend several hours there.
oh yeah. You want to have that open time. It was that experience where you're like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to do all these things, and you get into it, and you're like, yeah, I want to do all the things. So, sorry, I'm figuring out where the graphics are. So, Chilla, what's your awesome thing of the week?
My awesome thing of the week is another product that was just announced and released by 8-Bit Do. Um, it's actually an Xbox licensed arcade stick. It's both wireless and customizable, so you can actually use a USB cable. It actually has a dongle. It has numerous settings, and it can obviously be customized by the 8-Bit Do Ultimate software. One of the things that I thought was pretty cool about it as well is you can actually swap out the physical buttons. And it does take between the standard 30 millimeter and 24 millimeter sizes. And it can use a number of you can swap out the actual stick and knob. So pretty impressive. What I also liked about it was if you use a wired headset, which I do, and I plug it into my controller, it actually has the 3.5 millimeter audio jack for plugging in headphones. And with using headphones, you get about 20 hours of battery life off of it. So it's a pretty decent device. It does come in a little pricey. It is $120, but it does work across the Xbox as well as Windows 10. So you can pretty much use it anywhere, and it comes in both black and white, or black and kind of like an off-white color.
And it's even referenced in the article about just in time for Street Fighter 6, which is something I've been eyeballing. This throws me back to GamePro when Street Fighter was huge, and seeing the giant arcade sticks for like several $100s in there at the time.
Even what was the NES? The NES had, was it the NES Arcade, or what? Is that theirs? Like, I really liked that growing up as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was and I always wanted like the one for the Super Nintendo, and I don't think that one did as well, which is amazing considering Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat were on it. Like it wasn't as prevalent as like I felt like NES Advantage was like I want to feel like an arcade controller at the time.
I did not like the NES Max, but
the NES Max was a bullshit controller. Anyways, so that's awesome. So that is the 8-Bit Do arcade stick for Xbox, and that's coming out later this month. So you can get your Street Fighter 6 on for that.
Did you get Street Fighter 6? You just said you've been eyeing it.
I'm going to. Well, I'm on the road, so there's no point in getting Street Fighter 6 because I can't play it because my Xbox is at home, and I don't think it'll be on streaming. So plus AEW is coming out this month, so I might be gaming when I get back. I'm thinking about
getting it on Steam, but I don't know.
Yeah, because I don't have a PC that I could play those. I have 5 on the PC, but I can kind of load into Parallels and play it, but it's that gets weird. I haven't had a reliable place to play Street Fighter 5, so there's that. All right, Potter, what's your awesome thing of the week?
So this past week, I started a little PT for my knee,
Okay.
and they said, well, we're going to print out the sheet so you can see the exercises we want you to do when you're at home. But also, we have an app. And now this is through UPMC, so I figured it'd be through the UPMC app. But it's a separate app, and the way it works is it's customized. So when I log into this, it has my 5 particular exercises. And when I hit go, it'll say, there we go. It'll say, okay, here's your 5 exercises. if I hit go, it says, okay, we're going to start on the first exercise. And it shows a video as the speed that you're supposed to be doing these exercises, how many times, and it has a countdown. It'll say, okay, now rest. Now it's your next set. Now it's the next one. So it's a nice, and now let me see if this, because I turned to...
No, your blur's getting crazy.
Oh, wrong way.
There you go. Where's the lens at? There you go. Your hand's good.
Oh, no, you know what?
We saw it for a moment.
Let me do this. There we go. Ignore the mess behind me.
Just block it out with the screen. Okay, there you go. So there's your exercises.
So these are the ones that, and I didn't have to load anything.
Mm-hmm.
All I had to do was log in,
mm-hmm.
and it's loaded all these exercises. So if I wanted to look for one in particular, it actually shows. Let's see here, is it loading or is it? There it is. Okay, now it's moving. Sorry. So you can actually see
for the most part.
the proper technique on how to do the leg raise there.
Yeah.
And it says how many you should do and how little tips and tricks and all the information, because those pieces of paper can be easily lost.
Mm-hmm.
That they give you is like, okay, here's a printout, now do it. And doing it that way, it's a nice little thing. And as weeks go on, I'll have more exercises, or there'll be more reps, and they'll just be loaded on, and I can just follow it. And when I do it, it actually says, okay, you did it. Do you want to report back to your provider that you did these exercises? So it's a nice thing in terms of accountability, and it has a little achievement. So there's a little gamification in it. So
it's high fives.
Exactly. Yeah. There's a little trophy. It says how many you've done in a row and how many exercises and the whole thing.
So it's the MedBridge Go for patients.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, this your provider has to support this, right?
Exactly.
Like it's something that's kind of given.
Yes.
And there may be
you just can't down.
No.
But I think if you're in Pittsburgh, I don't know if West Penn supports this, but since this is a UPMC physical therapy place I'm going to, that's a large portion of the people who actually, and I don't have UPMC insurance, I'm going to the facility. So I figure a lot of people would have access to it, and it's Android and iOS.
Nice. Awesome. Go check that out if you are able to. So, and how long have you been in on this? Like this is relatively recently, right?
Just a week. Just a week. I started last Wednesday.
Cool. I'd like to see your impressions long term with this app too.
Yeah.
Let's see if it kind of keeps you with it because of the format. So, awesome. Hey, I don't have a graphic for you guys on video, but in the meantime, please give a shout out to our friend Slice on Broadway. I had to get a local pizza because it's Tuesday night. I haven't pizzaed in front of a podcast for a couple weeks, but it was still not our friends from Slice on Broadway, and that made me sad because I enjoy our friends providing the perfect pepperoni pizza for Pittsburgh podcasting and the Tuesday tradition, if you will, and I can't share pizza over Zoom. So this is sad. Even though Katie is completely in the studio and could have picked up a pizza for herself because they're expecting us. But anyways, go just check out our friends at sliceonbroadway.com. All right. Apple, I don't know, announced a thing or two. Do we go with the big one first? Yeah, let's go with the big one first. Who's ready for Apple on your face? Don't be too ready. It's going to be about a year, and it's going to be $3,500. The Apple Vision Pro AR headset is $3,500. Is expected next year, early next year. They announced it at WWDC. It is an AR, not VR. This thing, I was actually showing a tech guy when I found out about it. Saw the announcement had come through yesterday. We were on site and waiting for some automated things to happen. So it's really, and I'm not going to play the video because I got to take down last time I played an Apple video. So we're just going to look at some pictures. Actually, this is Verge, so we might be okay. But it looks. This is a good
like
point.
Ski goggles.
Yeah, they look like ski goggles. Yeah. But it also looks like something from a sci-fi movie, right? You know, like somebody made the real. I think it was God, I can't remember the name of it. Somebody that I subscribed to emails was saying how this is the thing that happens in sci-fi movies that we've wanted all the time. We want the Tony Stark digital desktop waving our hands. This has no interface. There is no control to this thing. Supposedly, this thing will work with hand swipes and taps of your finger, from what I'm gathering so far. And I haven't looked deep into the announcement, so please correct me, those who have seen the announcement.
No, you're absolutely right. And your hands do not have to be directly in front of your face. So the what they were showing was, like, say someone's sitting down, and because there's, I think, there's 4 front-facing cameras, and there's cameras that face down. So you can have your hand at the side and pinch to select or pinch to zoom, basically, with your hands down here, kind of in a natural position. And just use your eyes to track and select what you're doing on, and pinch to pick it out. And it looks like if someone's from the 1970s said, what will future computing look like?
But to be honest, it's slick, and it's, you know, in this virtual desktop idea, there's a little image for you there. I just laughed when the first thing I saw were the, like, circle icons, like they're from an Apple Watch. But like the idea that it is mapping, and this is not see-through. You see her eyes in the video; those are not her eyes. It is capturing the rest of your face on camera in the headset and projecting that on the screen outside. Okay? You're not seeing through the glass. It's a screen taking a picture of everything around you, imposing the screen, the desktop, even to the point where they talked about if you watch a movie, you can dim your room. Okay, so from my understanding, like, you have a lit room because you're not the only one in there. You want to watch a movie, you want to darken around you. It will perceptually darken your room, and even the glow from the video you're watching will project on the things around you. The scanning and telemetry and whatever other technology in this thing sound ridiculous if this thing actually turns out the way that it's supposed to, because, you know, it has to know a lot to know surfaces and how those things respond, right?
I thought it was pretty cool too, the way they're doing, or they're handling, you know, we've been through Touch ID, Face ID. This is going to scan the iris to unlock the device for you, which I thought was pretty cool. I do wonder, are you going to be able to pair it with the same device with multiple other devices? Like, can Christopher and I share one? Or
yes.
Does everyone, or in true Apple fashion, does everyone need their own?
Oh yeah, I think it would just, hopefully that means it was just unlocked to your iris, and, like, well, we haven't really had that in a device, have we? So.
Right. Well, and but you can put 2 faces on a phone, but there's no user profiling. So how do
I think this is personal. I think this is going to be a personal device where it's I know. It's not going to be where I can log in and then hand it to Ruth and say, well, here, you use it now, and then text her iris, because nothing, like you said, nothing else Apple has that has profiles.
I mean, the laptop does. So I wonder if you have 2 profiles on a laptop.
Yeah.
Is it going to let you?
And Apple TV.
And it's synced to the laptop. Can kind of and Apple TV does.
Yeah, it's you know, are they determining you're not going to share profiles on a phone? An iPad seems like a personal thing as well. Actually, no. Does an iPad do multiple?
Kids for schools.
Kids mode. So there is a slight option there. So it's not outside the realm that Apple could do. It's kind of, do they determine, is this a personal device, or this? I mean, it really looks like it's specs wise, it looks like another computer, right? It looks like a Mac Mini. From what I could tell, it's got an M2.
Because it's using the M2.
Yep. So I mean, that means it's a desktop. it could be if they so choose, and hopefully at this price point they would. Also, at $3,500, this is probably not for you. Also, notice they put a Pro by it. It's the Apple Vision Pro, which means it's iPhone Pro. I spent way more for my phone than a lot of other people did, right? Still haven't felt this terabyte. But man,
I'm interested to see because the one Meta device was what, 1,500, and it was AR, and it wasn't even full vision. I'm interested to see. I think it's all going to depend on the devs, right? Based on the fact that like they already announced like Microsoft Teams and other applications for it. I definitely see the pro factor in the same respect, right? Just like the Quest we have is shared across multiple individuals. I would hope that that they do enough dev work from a gaming perspective to make it worthwhile, that it can be shared around the household. Otherwise, the utility to me of the device and where I see the investment in the devices, right? So Sorg, you run your devices till the end. We use the hand-me-down system to keep the device alive for as long as possible. So I would hope this device
I do a version of that now.
Can follow that same suit.
I do a version of that now where the hand-me-down just goes through the studio. So,
but you know what I mean? Like, you need to get the utility or the life out of it. This can't be to me, this can't be a two-year device, and even a 3-year device is stretching it. This needs to be a 4 to 5 year device.
Or is this a major pro device? The guy I was showing it to, I think he's a software guy. And when I showed him the desktop stuff, he was very excited about this. And the proposing of, like, you could have this thing sitting on a plane. You could have this thing sitting in the Starbucks, and you have your full desktop, versus, and it took me back to the days, like, have you seen the iMac in a Starbucks, right? That somebody drags in to get their work done. Like, this could end up being that. But then my other concern is, how are we typing emails? Is it all voice? I saw it's a visual keyboard, and because the cameras, like Podner was talking about, go down, it's grabbing where your fingers are on the keyboard. If that really works, I'll be impressed, because we've seen those ones where they're projected on a tabletop, right?
No, this is like where you have like the virtual desktop, the virtual icons. There's a virtual keyboard which is kind of hovering too that you can do.
Everything's just kind of.
But you can also pair a physical Bluetooth keyboard to it.
Okay.
So and that's where I wonder, like, and Sorg, I totally agree. Like, I am
the zoom in on you rubbing your eyes was amazing,
I am that person. Oh, if I go like this, does it do it again?
No, won't do it.
No. But no, I am that person that now, like, is always packing a second portable monitor. This would be phenomenal instead of having to carry an extra monitor around.
You mean like how
I'll just plug in like Ready Player One?
That which is funny because I kind of do the same thing now, but it's a video display.
And they did show one bit where, like I said, you had your Mac Pro in front of you, your MacBook Pro in front of you. You opened it up and you just flicked the screen up, and now all of a sudden you're working off your laptop and using the virtual as a virtual monitor off your laptop.
And that makes an interesting concept, right? So they now don't need to necessarily create a touch-based Mac because the entire interface is going to have to be touch for vision.
They basically said we're skipping ahead past that. Oh, how novel your touch screen. That's so cute. Here's AirTouch.
You know what? Honestly,
it's such an Apple thing.
I could see, let's say, stockbrokers or people who have multiple monitors.
Programmers.
Yeah. Now if you connect it up to a MacBook Pro, video producer, where you normally would have multiple monitors, no problem.
I've been trying to
put
figure
on
out
your
how
head
to stack
device,
4 monitors on
boom,
top of each other at my desk for this reason.
and they're virtual. Yeah, and they're virtual, so you don't need the graphics processing.
Well, no.
Per se.
You do.
Well, you need it, but you don't need
not in the same way.
all the cards. You don't need exactly. You don't need all the cards, all the ports.
Katie, are you still with us? Hopefully, she's.
I am.
That should be good internet. Yes. Just tell you, just boot up the computer and join us there. So
I'm using your FiOSes.
Yes, you're using my FiOSes. It's so much better. So what do you think about this from what we've seen before so far? I mean, obviously, price aside, pie in the sky, there's one you can afford within the next few years. What do you think of this virtual desktop idea?
I love it because I'll tell you what, I definitely miss, like, when I'm traveling, not having a second monitor or another place to look at things because it gets a little chaotic. But yeah, no, I would love it, and it would be great, and then it would be right there.
Yeah, we'd be wearing this. Oh,
it looks cool.
They actually show video of you wearing it on the plane too. That would be great.
That would be fantastic.
And again, this is all conceptual. They had them. It looks like I think were they able to try them out? The media that
they had demo units, so I wouldn't say it was completely conceptual.
No.
Well, the article made it. The one article I saw was like it was there, but no one could touch it.
I think that was in the one. No, that was in the one area, but
it was different. Okay.
I found it on 9 to 5 Mac where they said they whisked me away in a golf cart to a separate location, and they were able to try it for 30 minutes.
So it's like the first iPhone where they're like, here, controlled environment, don't click that icon, it's not active. Those kinds of situations. And
it was interesting though because it sounded like they made them walk through the first time setup too, which I thought was pretty cool, right? It wasn't like a pre-built. Well,
it's probably
to your point, don't click this.
Remember Google Glass, where I had to go to New York City, sit there, and have them walk me through how the thing worked. Right? This is a new concept. People are not going to grasp it, or they'll get frustrated. You got to step them over that hump in order for them to adopt it, right? And tell their friends about it and be a, influencer. Because honestly, whoever was paying $1,500 for Google Glass at the time were probably influencers, and people are going to tell everybody else about it. So it hopefully became a thing. So, but I think the biggest advantage they're going to have, where Meta, HoloLens, everybody else is that this comes out earlier next year. We're all going to be able to try it regardless. And that's the real move here. Yeah. Because it's going to be at the Apple Store, right? Get your sanitizer ready and your wipes, because a lot of people are going to put their face in this thing.
To me, one of the things they need to figure out is how to get... I personally think it needs 3 hours of battery life. I think 2 hours is too short to have to plug in.
Well, the biggest thing was you can't watch a full Marvel movie on this.
And therein lies the problem, because you know what? It's interesting, right? If it is as comfortable as it seems, that's another thing. Like, it would be nice to just lay in bed and actually lay down and be able to. I'm not going to mount a TV on my ceiling. But that's actually, to me, the most comfortable. If I was laying in bed instead of trying to be awkwardly propped up.
I'm afraid to lose my $100 AirPods when I fall asleep at night in the hotel. Putting my $3,500 headset. I guess some people. I guess it'd just be like a CPAP machine in the long run.
But I wouldn't. It's one of those things where I'm upstairs reading or doing something long before I'm ready to fall asleep. So I just look at it as. It's way cheaper than a 72-inch screen. Yeah. On your ceiling. Or a very high-end laser projector.
We talked about a couple weeks ago. Okay.
And remember, this is version... I don't even call it version 1. This is version 0.5.
Well, but this can't be... but I don't know. This can't be... This can't be, hey, we're going to come out with a one every year and it's going to cost the same.
No, I'm thinking about this as like when the first iPad came out. Remember how thick it was, and it didn't have a camera.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't until the second version that they had a camera. It was crappy, but it was a camera.
I think of this more like the MacBook Pro line, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't get a new MacBook Pro every year.
True.
And also, as far as concept, I was talking with somebody over at Mastodon earlier today, responding to their post about this, like kind of this is a lot, but I don't know why I'm down on this. Apple's probably going to knock it out of the park kind of thing, right? And I responded with like, listen, I kind of think this is going to be like an Apple Watch. Because remember, the first Apple Watch came out and they had pivoted because they waited to see how people used it. And then they leaned into fitness, right? Like hard. So like, I feel like this is going to come out to those early adopters that are going to drop $3,500, your influencers, your high-level techies, workers, things like that. And I think there's going to be a big... people are using it this way that they're not foreseeing, and then we'll kind of settle into that to 2.0, to the Pro Mini, affordable $2,000 version, $1,500 version. The Air, yes, the Apple Vision Air.
Yeah. I mean, that is that. If you look at the iPads, they have the iPad, iPad Air, iPad Pro.
Yeah. I can't wait for the iPad,
MacBook Air, MacBook Pro.
iPad,
and I hope they learned their lesson. What was it? The
Max Pro. Go ahead.
No. Was the iPad? Was it the iPad 3 that was the first Retina display?
Maybe
that was out for like 6 months.
Right, because the processor was just not strong enough to actually run the actual darn display. And then they had the 4 out like 6 months later. They cannot make that mistake on this device.
Well, they definitely won't repeat that because the M processors are just ridiculous with power. So, and the fact that our processor being custom built just for this. So yeah, I you know what? Again, it's expensive, but I can see as maybe part of the deal with Disney Plus being on there on day one.
Yeah.
Maybe they're going to give Disney people a whole bunch to work on and say, oh, here, give this to some workers, give this to some engineers, and see how they run with it and let us know.
Well, one of the interesting things, though, too, and maybe they'll let you just like they'll let you Bluetooth pair a keyboard, maybe they'll let you do like a controller. The interesting thing, right, is if they don't do something, I'm not sure how you're going to work in 3D space in a game, right?
No, they did show a controller. They did show.
Did they?
Show, yeah. When they showed like the NBA game, they actually did use, I think, an Xbox and a PS5 controller for Bluetooth.
I didn't see the game part. Is it? Are these just like look like they're Apple Arcade games on a screen?
They said there's going to be 100 games available at launch.
I would hope it's not Apple Arcade. I would hope it's some kind of VR.
Some of it's going to be
3D run through
ish, but yeah, some of it's going to be 3D. Fine. Some of it's going to be like, I think the one thing was a basketball game, but you're kind of hovering. You're not just stuck in a position. You can actually look around the court.
I think they're going to leverage that Apple Arcade. I think you're going to find, just like the games have been formatted for tablet, phone, and TV. Like, I think, hey, can you add this layer to your NBA game, to your Alto's Adventure, to your Angry Birds, or to your Transformers game, right? Like that, like the thing's already in 3D, you're just sticking in a 3D space. But I know that's oversimplified, but like I think Apple Arcade is going to be could end up being the big killer app for this, because like, I don't have to buy $5, $10, $15 games like the Meta. Hey, here's a bunch of them for $5 a month, $10 a month, whatever it's going to be at the time. So, Katie, we may have had a preview of this, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Because
tell them I'm excited.
We got in there and when we rode this road so quick. I don't feel like I got all that was happening around me or how it was happening.
No.
but we did the Mario Kart ride at Universal Studios, and we just found out a news item about that today, right?
Mm-hmm. That Apple acquired that company. What was it called? Mira Prism.
Yep, Mira, M-I-R-A.
Mm-hmm. Mira Prism.
So,
but the thing is called Prism. Sorry, Mira.
So, if you haven't seen, you get this visor, and it's just a clear visor that's connected to the cart, snaps into your hat that they give you online, and you see the Mario Kart characters as you look around and can shoot at them and stuff, and that's a part of the game on top of the practical things happening around you. And it was pretty incredible from my memory, right, Katie?
Oh yeah, it was amazing. Like it was unlike anything we've ever seen. Like the crisp quality of it was so cool.
Yeah. And this company also has military contracts, but it's at the Army and Navy, I believe. And so it said that they just discovered this acquisition, but I don't think we're clear on how long ago this happened. So I think, and before acquisition, they may have definitely been working with Apple with this, because this feels very similar to what we were shown in demo yesterday. Right. So like this might be a big lean into that kind of situation. So if you get to Super Nintendo World and you ride the Mario Kart ride, you may be getting kind of a proto version of what we're going to see in the next year with Apple Vision. So like we're all running into the store to try these out when they hop into the Apple stores, right? I mean, right? So there's a lot of other stuff. Mac Pros, previews of OSs. I did not get to see any of this, guys. Is there any highlights before we bounce out of here that we should be seeing?
That sounds kind of weird, but the Mac Pro, the cheese grater,
yes,
or cheese grater 2.0, is actually, you could almost consider it cheap. Well, just because the Intel one you could max out at $50,000.
Yes.
Right? You max out the new one, I wouldn't say only, but not my money. It maxes out at $12,000.
And probably shreds that $50,000 computer.
Yeah, it would, because remember the old Mac Pro had that special card for graphics that was $2,000 just by itself. And because the M2 Max and Ultra that's in there now, it has the equivalent of 7 of those cards built in. So it starts at 7,000. But like I said, if you max it out, I mean, that's 76 GPU cores. I mean,
yes.
Yeah, I mean, no one, I would say no one. Most normal or even abnormal people do not need this. This is, hi, oh yes, Disney, I would love to work on the next Pixar film.
Yeah.
You know,
I was going to bring up. Yeah. I was going to bring up how I remember. I don't remember which Mac Pro came out which year, but it was literally like, and Pixar has been using this for the last 6 months. And they're doing a video about how great this is and how much more they can do. And the biggest thing. This is the first M2 chip computer with 7 PCIe slots. That's the big deal. That's the big deal for some people there.
They kept the expandability.
But remember, yeah, they kept the expandability, but now like the afterburner is built into the chip. So
yeah,
what are you expanding
what are you throwing in there? I mean, I'm interested
cards?
to see like what
Blackmagic cards for one thing for I/O.
Different audio cards, video. I would say maybe customized, almost audio and video cards.
Well, let's say that's why the Blackmagic.
Storage,
Blackmagic, it's adding
storage.
I/O, storage. Well, maybe not storage. But there's specialized interfaces for specialized video, audio, other, things. Like if you're doing 3D, if you're doing anything like that, maybe there's more 3D you want to put in this. Maybe there's something that supports specifically an NVIDIA or an ATI that you need to throw in this, right? So like there's a lot of possibilities for that. Wait, is this rack mountable? Is this one of the
last one was rack mountable too.
Yeah, there you can when you select it, you either select the vertical or the rack mountable option.
The possibilities just blew up in my head for video. Jeez, that's
yeah. And like I said, I know 12,000 isn't cheap, but that's totally maxed out.
Yeah, that's totally maxed out. And you know, if you need that kind of power, that's chump change, and you're enjoying the discount. So,
and the fact that the Mac Studio, they put the new chip in and kept the price the same.
Mm-hmm. Oh, nice.
So they went from the M1 to the M2 without a price increase.
I am pretty sure. I've been trying to justify doing some cycles for upgrades. Again, do the hand-me-down through the studio kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the next one's going to be a studio, just to push that a little further, and get some more overhead there. So, because I know some people that were doing some insane production that probably they shouldn't have been on a Mac Studio. Just because you can do everything on one computer doesn't mean you should. Okay, especially mission critical live production. Anyways, but no, that definitely
the one thing that kind of got lost, and a 15-inch MacBook Air. The 15 point. So it's basically the 13.3, same everything, just 15-inch.
A little less area, I guess. So,
what was your off the Mac line? What was your thought on what are the new contact cards that you can customize and create
on the phone?
So you can send to people. Yeah, so you can in iOS 17. So
well, it's not just about sending to people. It's like you're going to be able to create. You know how you can create your own Memoji. That like if someone texts you, it'll be like, hey, do you want to update? And if you set it as your profile, when you text people that are in your contact list or whatever, they get, or you can unlock it for anyone, they get the option to add it as like your photo. You know what I'm talking about?
Is this?
Yeah. So now this is like a
customize people see when you call. So
So you build your card, and when you call people, that's what they see.
So like right now, I put Katie's awesome wrestling belt and wearing her gown in the crown picture in as her photo, and which I guess you could set that as your contact, and that would also come over, right, Katie? For everybody, which you should do, by the way. So I think you should absolutely do that, especially for businesses. But like, so that comes up and it looks really cool. But now, like, you could add in the corner 2PW Power Princess or something like that, on top of things and really kind of put it over, right? Like really kind of customize it. So like, that's the idea, is that'll come through like with the call kind of instantaneously and stuff. That's pretty cool. Okay.
Now, the interesting thing, I'm wondering, like, is this going to get something where like people prank each other with explicit cards? But it could get interesting in that realm. But I am super excited about this. Right? I'm also excited about the touchless contact card transfer, which I thought was pretty cool. Works across phone and across watch.
They bump.
It's like bump.
You remember bump?
Like I remember bump
at like PodCamp 4. Like that, the news program I listened to said that of like, oh, and you just bump at the contacts. I'm like, did you say bump? Like, is bump back? But yeah,
I'm kind of wondering how because I think you need the upgraded either Bluetooth or NFC chip for that. So I mean, it could go back to iPhone 14. So it could be 2-3 years old. But
we don't know what technology they've been putting on phones for the last how many years that's led to these features.
And not telling us.
No, they don't tell you. So they're like, oh yeah, hey, it turns out you have this chip and everybody can bump and everything's cool. And that's all the way back to like the 12. I don't know. No, absolutely. Because if it's just the new guys, like you're not going to use it because none of your friends have it because you're the only one with a new phone, right? Like my in-laws that have the SC don't have it, potentially, or do they?
Like cut the 10.
Yeah. So. Very, very cool. I mean, we'll see that as that kind of rolls out.
One other thing that I think we're all going to get sick of are the new sticker rollout.
Oh yeah.
Oh, what are these stickers?
That'll like be the big thing the first like week, and then it'll get old.
Like emojis?
Yeah. Well, kind of, but here's the thing. You'll be able to, on a photo, let's say click on the subject.
Mm-hmm.
Right now you can separate the subject, but now you can save it as a sticker.
Katie, you can put stickers in every app.
Butts on butts on butts.
Here's the thing. Wait a minute. It gets better. If you use a live photo, the sticker is an animated sticker.
Jeez, what the heck? React with your hands in FaceTime.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, this is getting crazy.
Yeah, so you can give yourself a thumbs up, and yeah.
Hi, you know how we've given you way too much power in your phones, and maybe you're not a videographer that's actually using all this stuff? That's okay. This is like, I always look at when that big animation comes off when you fill your rings, which I'm not getting to today because I didn't do exercise because I've been wall-to-wall with stuff today, and the giant graphic thing comes up, the celebration graphic or the pew pew when Missy or Katie sends me that on text. Like, there's a graphic power in my watch that I'm always amazed that I only see in cute animations, and just like, what can this do? And I feel like nobody pushes it. I feel like the same thing with the phone, unless you're gaming, unless you're doing 3D rendering with it, unless you're doing video production with it. Well, I started playing ProRes a little bit today, and it scares me on my phone. I've never played with ProRes yet, and I want to this week, but the stuff that came up kind of scared me. So I think it told me with my terabyte phone I could do 5 minutes of ProRes with what's left on it, which I'm pretty sure is a half terabyte. But anyways, all right. I think we're well past pumpkin time. Don't want to keep it too late. Chilla, thank you for joining us. Good to have you back.
Thanks for having me.
And we'll be back in studio next week. Dave Podner, who has been, by the way, pour one out for Dave Podner. I don't know if that's the right way to put that. Who has been our clipper extraordinaire for a
depends
year
on what
now?
You're pulling out. It depends on what you're pulling out. I may put it.
He said pour one out.
Pour one out. Pour one out. Ah.
It's our connection. This is how hotel Wi-Fi, I'm sure. Pour one out for Podner. He is retiring as our show clipper this week. We are seeking new clippers. If you are a regular watcher or want to join us live on Tuesdays to help me with time codes, we are looking to get a couple people in to replace them. It's going to take 2 people to replace Podner on each show is the goal. So it was fun, and I would say the reason I'm leaving is not have anything to do with the show. You have a really cool opportunity. New job. It was funny. Somebody told me about your new job mere hours before you broke the news to me.
Oh, okay.
And it sounds very, very
Which
cool.
Makes sense given where you're at. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. You know the people I've been around the last 2 weeks. So very cool. Congratulations, Dave. I hate to see you go and have to replace you, but I'm always glad when it's for good reasons. So fantastic. I'm not sad to lose people who are upgrading their lives. So, but you're still around. You're still going to be a contributor. You're still you'll be on the show. You'll be around everything. You just won't be spending all that time on videos. Exactly. Prof Pod iPhoneography podcast.
Yes. Yeah. In fact, we did a deep dive into WWDC last night, and my co-host Greg McMillan, before the show last night, downloaded the developer preview of iOS 17, and he's running it on an old phone.
Mm-hmm. So because developer preview is now free. You don't have to pay the $100 developer license fee.
You can all make a terrible mistake together for free this time.
And he even said, and this is something I told him, don't do it. Because he has it on an older phone. He said it's so stable. He's thinking about putting it on his 14.
Oh, jeez.
And I'm like,
should I put it on my 8?
Do it.
Katie, what are you playing with at my desk that's making noise? It's popping you up. What is that?
She's popping all your bubble wrap.
I can't see you. Whatever you're holding up.
It's Optimus Prime. I almost have him as a truck.
No, you're going to be transforming him. Wait, let me see.
Yeah, I'm getting there.
Well, Good luck. Don't break them.
Look.
Oh, it's kind of a truck. Katie K Dutters on the Twitter, Kate Murray PGH on the Instagram. I'm sure you have some stuff on there from your recent travels.
Yes, and I thought I was on mute playing with your transformer, so sorry, but surprise.
I heard this clicking, and I'm like, what is happening? And then finally you clicked so loud it popped up on the screen. So
it's me.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much. This has been your AwesomeCast, and I do need to cue up the outro, which I do completely have. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, guys. Like I said, we'll be back in studio, back to normalcy next week, and for the foreseeable future. I never know at the schedule. So we'll see you guys next time. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. You have been our awesome audience. Have an awesome week. This show is a member of the Sorgatron Media Podcast Network. Find out more at Sorgatron.